just curious for you, when it comes to preseason, just kind of as a vet now, how much value do you place in getting in preseason games and just kind of getting those reps before, the games count, so to speak?
A lot. I mean, I think it's valuable for anybody, no matter how long you've played. No matter how you look at it, it's been a long time since you've been live tackled. It's been a long time since you've seen somebody that wears a different color than you. So I think preseason reps are really valuable, regardless of how long you've played.
And then when you look at some of these guys, obviously like Bo Collins, Montreal Washington, Cambry a little bit. What do you see from those guys that are trying to fight for a spot on the team and just taking advantage of these reps they've been getting so far?
They're young, talented, hungry guys. They've all come in and done a great job. It's as you get older in the league, it gets more and more spooky. It's like, man, these kids are coming in getting better and better. They're smart. They pick up the system fast. But it's been a lot of fun to have them around this off season and be able to help grow alongside them. And even though obviously as older guy or the vet in the room, so to speak, a lot of people, seek to learn things from me, but I'm always trying to learn things from them as well because they're bringing stuff from college or what have you. So, it's been nice to have those guys around.
Thank you.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey Darius, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I think you might be close to setting the New York Giants Zoom appearance record.
Got to be up there for sure.
I think you're yeah. Eli Manning didn't really have a lot of Zooms in his day, so I think it's a new award, but I think you're right up at the top.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Can you just think back? I got one fairly unpleasant remembrance. The last 2 years, the way you guys started the season, the way you was that like a gut punch? You guys, everyone is so excited for a season opener. You're going to put on points. You're going to do this, and the way those games against the Cowboys and the Vikings, the results of those, was that kind of a gut punch? Do you remember?
Yeah, they definitely weren't ideal. Certainly not how we wanted to open those seasons up, but at the end of the day, they're in the past now, and all we can do this year is go out and do our best to open up the season fast and try to keep playing well throughout the entire year and then end the year strong.
I don't know if you remember how you felt going into those seasons, but you're not there yet, but you're close. I mean, you've always been a fairly optimistic guy, especially early in seasons or before the season. What is your optimism level now, knowing that you always say that you feel like you have a good team and you can score points?
Yep.
Does it feel a little different now?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I think we've played really well over camp, and kind of like the previous question I answered. Honestly, like the depth of guys that we have. Like guys like Montreal and Cambry and Lil Jordan, Zach Pascal, who we also added, Bo Collins, Juice Wells. Like even the undrafted rookie free agent guys that we signed have been making plays, and it's having that type of, obviously, you have like kind of myself, Malik Wandale, that kind of, that first three group of receivers that we try to, set the tone as far as playmaking goes. But, it's one thing where you have like, okay, you got the guys you expect to make plays making plays, but when you're top to bottom, have a practice and every group rotates through and everybody's making plays, it elevates the play of everybody around. And so I think that ultimately, it matters that guys like that are practicing well and playing well, because it ups the play of the guys like myself who are, quote unquote, in the one group.
Are you eager to see Russ play alongside him in a preseason game, or is it like it's his 13th year? I don't need to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's his 13th year, but it's his first year as a Giant, so he's never played as a New York Giant. He's never played with us in a real game. He's never played behind our line, played with our backs, played with our receivers. So, I don't think that you can minimize what those reps mean with all new people. He's been playing football for a long time, but, things change when you go different places and you have different pieces. So, I'm excited to play alongside him, and I think it'll be a good mesh.
One more real quick. I mean, even if it's one series or two, does that make a difference? Sometimes the starters go out, they play 8 or 9 snaps, come off the field. Does that do anything for you if that's you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's at the end of the day, it's up to the coaches, how long, we're out there. Obviously our job, we get paid to play. So, my mindset is, I go out there expecting to play endlessly, and then I try to treat it as whenever whenever you do get that call that, you are done, I try to treat it as it being a surprise, and I try not to anticipate it. And leading up to that, I try to play like I would any other regular season football game.
Thanks, Dax. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Last one, Brian Dunleavy.
Hey Darius, thanks for doing this. I got a couple for you.
Right.
First, I'm going to read you some names here. These are the guys you could pass this season in Giants franchise receiving history: Sterling Shepard, Jeremy Shockey, Victor Cruz, some older Ike Hilliard, Hakeem Nicks. What does that mean to you? I mean, I just read you kind of like a Giants royalty list, some of your ex-teammates. What does it mean to you with a good season that you're going to pass all those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I have profound respect for all the names you just said. All guys who played here before me, all guys who, were good players here before me. But, ultimately it's while it would be, nice to be able to, pass up people that were such good football players, I that's not really my focus. It's not my primary focus. Even if I had, the NFL record for yards through 7 years in the NFL, it wouldn't change the fact, of the games that we've, not been able to win in my time here. And so ultimately, that's my primary focus is, I think somebody like Hakeem Nicks or Amani Toomer or, Mario Manningham, even, Plaxico Burress, those type of guys, the envy I have for them is the fact that they won at the highest level, so ultimately I'd much rather catch them in Super Bowl rings than I would yardage, but hopefully if I'm blessed enough to get past them in yards, then so be it.
Number two, Daboll was just raving about you this year as far as leadership, getting up into the front of the room. Obviously, you've always been one of the media favorites. Has something changed with you and your teammates this year? And why do you think that would be in year whatever this is, 7 versus 6 or 6 versus 5? What's different about you behind closed doors this year?
It's really been my fault. I'm not, despite the fact that I talk to you guys, as we've already noted, I'm not a talker, so this year, though I've tried to, I have a wealth of knowledge in my brain, and, this year I've tried to be conscious about sharing that with the guys around me and with the teammates around me. And I think that it's been something that's been beneficial for our team. And, a lot of guys that I've shared things with, I've expressed, appreciation for what I've shared. So, I've tried to come out of my shell, more this year than I have in the past, and be more vocal and just try to impart knowledge and wisdom when I can.
And number 3, what do you think of the new secondary? Everybody's made such a big deal outside in my world of the front 7 and like what Dex and Abdul and all these guys could do. But people are forgetting, like, there's a lot of talent in that secondary that you're going against every day with Adebo and Holland, and Newbin's a high pick, and the Banks. Like, what has your impression been going against them every day of that new secondary and what they could be and like their style of play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with, Holland and Newbin. Noob's a pit bull. He gets on in there, he's tackles, he's physical, but he's also rangy. And I think Holland has added a good dimension of range, to our defense. He's also a willing tackler, but I think it stood out, his ability to cover sideline to sideline and get to the deep ball and also track and catch the deep ball, I think is something he's flashed a lot during camp, and it'll be a big addition for us. And, as far as our corners goes, obviously, I think for the most part, Debo and Flott and Tay have, somewhat, rotated, whatever you want to say, in the first group a good bit. And I think all 3 of them have done a good job. I think Tay's done a really good job this camp so far. I think he's taken a step, raised his level a little bit from previous years. And Flott's obviously a good football player too. I think he's grown himself. And obviously Debo's a new addition. So, I think he's shown himself to be a good pickup for us. And I think, it's always camp's always interesting, especially when you add somebody like Adebo who's never been on the team before, so you don't know I don't know how he plays. We don't know how he plays until, we get a chance to go against him. So it's always nice to have that change up of a fresh face, and he's trying to get to know us and we're trying to get to know him.